Hey there, Rena here, and Audrey apparently is joining us. So I wanted to give you a little bit of yin yoga practice tonight. And you might want to have a bolster if you have one, a couple of blocks. If you don't have those things, just grab any blankets or maybe a bed pillow or something like that that you have. So we'll start seated. So find a comfortable way to sit. And that can be cross-legged, or you could have a leg out, or you could even be leaning back. And just come into some stillness here. Close your eyes. Find some ease. Let all the air out of your lungs. Press it all out. Let the inhale come naturally. And then let your breath just ebb and flow like that. Breathing out. Breathing in. Let your shoulders move up toward your ears and back and down. And then settle in here, sitting up nice and tall. I like to sit on the edge of a blanket, and that just helps my hips feel like they're a little bit more in alignment, where I can get a bigger breath in. But find what works for you. Breathe in, breathe out. So really rooting down through your sits bones, reaching up tall through the crown of your head. So imagine your spine just having a lot of space from your tailbone through the crown of your head. And then let your breathing become a little longer on the inhale, a little longer on the exhale. Let something come to mind that you want for this short yin yoga practice tonight. What do you need? Let that land. Let that feeling of what you need land right in your heart, and take one hand right to your chest, right to your heart space. And just commit to yourself for this practice here tonight to honor that. Continually bringing yourself back to that thing you need and your breath. Let your chin tip slowly toward your chest, breathing out. And then you can open your eyes as we set up this first posture. So we'll do butterfly with an option for forward fold. And you can see, if you haven't done this with me before, I have a blanket, and then I have just the edge of it rolled up a little bit, kind of like a little Tootsie Roll. Audrey's really doing prop assistance with me tonight. And then I sit right on the edge and let my tailbone scooch off a little bit. You could sit up on a block if you want or like to have a little more elevation there. And then, so first, take your feet out in front, and then let your knees come to the sides. Now this may already feel intense, and if it does, this is fine, you can stay here. And I'm creating a diamond shape here, whereas in regular yoga we would maybe, for Baddha Konasana, we would maybe have those heels in a lot closer. We'll have them a little further away here so we can get into the hip joint in a little bit different way. And then one thing I really like to do here, just to check in to see how I'm feeling with folding forward, to see how my back feels, my hips, is I just take a bolster right here, let my head rest on it, and let my hands just rest out to the sides. So that's a good place to start. If you don't have a bolster, you could use pillows or blankets, and create something that you can just lean forward over. In whatever version you find that you feel like you can stay there for a bit, just do that. And we'll hang out here for just a little while. If you're new to yin yoga, we're rounding in the back here as long as it's okay for you to do so. So if you have disc issues or something, then keep your back up straight or lean back on your hands. But otherwise, we're kind of just having the chin go toward the chest, rounding forward, trying to get into the hip joint. So you want to look for a feeling here, a sensation. Find where you feel something that doesn't hurt, but you can tell something's happening. And then find some stillness and stay for a little while. And if the muscles are trying to work or hold the legs up, then see if you can exhale and find softness there. You can always have blankets or blocks under the knees here as well for support. And you will often find as you are here for a while that the sensation kind of goes away a little bit. You've worked into it, and you could maybe move a little deeper, or if the sensation gets too strong, you can come out a little bit. Two really good reasons to move in yin yoga, if you need more or you feel like you want a little less. And always before we move, taking a round of breath, noticing what we feel in the body, and then moving very slowly and mindfully. So you'll just, if you're in the forward fold version, you'll just start to push the floor away, coming up, notice how you feel. If you have props, just move them out of the way for the moment, lean back, bring the knees back up, and then slowly rock the knees side to side. And then come back to seated. So we'll have an option here. This would be half shoelace. We'll do both sides. So you can start with your left leg coming on top. So the bottom leg just stays straight. You could have a support under that knee if the hamstrings are kind of pulling or feel tight. The other leg will come over, and then you'll look toward stacking that knee on top of the bottom knee, somewhere in that vicinity. So if you find that this is happening, this is totally fine. You can place a pillow or a prop there, a block, something like that. But if for some reason crossing this over doesn't feel good to you, you could always just have it here or keep the knee here. But for those of us who want to try this version here, remember you can have a prop here. So then we'll just start here with the knee on top. This may be the sensation that you want tonight. You could even lean back, you could stay here. So just feel into that, see what you start to feel in that hip. You're gonna feel a stretch. You may feel a muscular stretch. It feels like you can actually feel the pulling. If you feel sensation in the joint, that's good as well. That just means we're getting closer to that fascia. And then sitting up tall here, we'll take a side lean toward that top leg. So your left hand will come to the floor, bring that other arm up, and then lean over. So this top arm can be kind of lazy since we're doing this yin yoga style tonight. You could have a block or some sort of book or prop here, and just lean. So what you're trying to get here is a side body stretch. This inner thigh, the top leg, is going to want to work. So just encourage it to have some ease. And then once you've found the version here that you want, close your eyes and breathe. If that top arm gets tired, you can just bring it forward, let it rest, but you're still getting the side body stretch. And just let the head hang. The shoulder can be a little soft, using as little muscular effort as possible to hold yourself up here. And then look down toward the arm that's supporting you, and then press into the floor with the hands. Come back up. And then we'll take a lean forward, or you'll stay here. So the folding forward, it's the same thing as this rounding sensation, unless you know you shouldn't round your lower back. And if that's the case, you can keep it straight. Otherwise, we're rounding, so we're getting into the spine and a little bit of safe compression for the lumbar. And again, you can have props here. You could have a block under your forehead, or even a pillow or blankets. And then encourage the legs to just be heavy and not work with the muscles. Slowly press into the floor and just slowly come back up. So it's really important, and an opportunity here to feel what happens in between the postures. So from here, we'll take that top leg, bring it over, lean to the side, swing it back, and then bring the other foot in. So we do this a lot in prenatal yoga. We call it pinwheel. And hi Audrey, she's just so active tonight. She's quiet all day and then ready for class, and she's active. Settle down. And then from here, we'll do a twist toward the your right leg. So breathing in. Now with twisting, we do like the long spine, so reaching through the crown of the head, and then breathing out and twisting around. So this glute here and the legs might try to fire up, just keep them really soft. If you know that you don't need to be internally rotating the knee or the hip, then you can just straighten that leg out. Otherwise, we're here, or if for some reason this just doesn't feel good, and then just breathe here, breathe in, breathe out. Tall in the spine, but ease everywhere else. slowly come back to the front. Lean to the side, bring the legs forward. And then take the knees side to side once again. We'll do all of that on the other side. So opposite leg comes either in or out to the side or over, and then stacking, whichever version you like or whatever feels good to you. And we'll hang out here for a couple of rounds of breath, just figuring out what feels good. Almost always one side is a little softer or more naturally stretched out, so just be aware of that and honor each side so they don't have to match. You can do what you need from side to side. And then here we'll take that little side bend. So arm comes up and then we lean. And then this top arm can maybe stretch and reach for a couple of rounds of breath. Closing your eyes once you're set up so that you can really make this an internal practice. And then that top arm can be kind of soft, or you could even bring it down. And just continue to breathe in and out. As you breathe in, you'll feel the expansion here along the side ribs. It's the intercostal stretch. Just breathe in and out. Maybe let your mind drift back to the thing that you needed or wanted today for class. Just mentally breathe that in and out. Take your head, turn it down toward the floor, press into the floor. Come up, you can move that block. Bring that leg. Oh, actually, no, let's stay there and do the forward fold. So you could either just stay here or you could lean forward. So remember, you can use a prop. We're rounding chin toward chest, rounding thoracic, rounding lumbar, and maybe you're just here. Or maybe you're just here. Find what feels good on this side. Breathe in and out. Remember, you can go deeper or come out a little depending on what signals your body sends you, listening to the sensations. Take a breath in and out here. Slowly start to push the floor away. Let your head and neck be the last to come up. Notice what you're feeling. So these forward folds are so good to help ease depression and bring your mood back up. It's very mood lifting, but it's also very calming. So release that leg and swing it all the way around. Lean to the side. Bend this other knee in. Pinwheel on this side. Sit up nice and tall. Breathe in. As you breathe out, take that little twist here. And it's okay if this hip comes off the floor a little bit. Just find where you can have as little muscular effort as possible. So really tall in the spine, breathing in and out. The inner thigh muscles will want to work, but just find softness there. Close your eyes. Exhale out all the air. Turn your head back to the front. Slowly bring your body back around. Release the legs. And then take the knees left and right. So we'll move into Sphinx pose now. So I'm going to move some of these props out of the way. And actually face the normal way on my mat for this. We'll come all the way down onto the front body. Can I have a little room here, Audrey? So just come all the way down any way that feels good to you. Hey, baby. And then just come all the way down. So resting your forehead on the backs of your hands. Rock your hips left and right. Bend your knees. Take the heels left and right a couple of times. And then settle back in just all the way down on the front body. Maybe even all the way down to the floor. Your head could turn one direction. Just breathe in and out here. Turn your head the other way if you chose to do one side, and then make sure you do the other. Then look toward the top of your mat. Send your arms out, reach the hands. Lift up each leg and extend it longer and put it back down. And then start to rock side to side as you drag the elbows back toward you. Come about halfway and then press the forearms into the mat, the palms into the mat, shoulders down, and see if you can feel this little back bend in the lumbar here. From the waist down, try to have the legs and the bottom be soft, so the muscle's not working. If for some reason that causes pinching in the lower back, then hug the quadricep to hug the kneecaps in. So just squeeze the quadricep muscle so the kneecap lifts. You can see the difference here. So if I squeeze that quadricep muscle, then the kneecap lifts, and that should alleviate the back. So not squeezing the booty, because that actually creates a little bit of a forward bend, and that's not really what we want here. And if that feels okay and you want a little more, keep sliding the elbows back, but only so far as under your shoulders, not behind your shoulders. So here, press the palms into the floor. Really lift up through the sternum, the crown of the head. So your head is not here. It's really neutral, so it's as if it would be in proper posture standing, just standing up tall. So it's not dipping down, it's just really extending out long. So here you are using some upper body strength. We're just creating a little safe compression in the low back. Breathing in and out. close your eyes if you want to. Now, if the shoulders get tired and you need a little break, you can sink down, rock a little side to side, and then come right back. And you could even let your head drop here for a few rounds of breath. So whatever you can do to find comfort so that you can keep that little back bend for just a little bit, just to have a little massage there. Just giving the lumbar vertebrae a little safe compression. Just encouraging the fascia and tissue around the vertebrae to release stuck energy. It helps release tension and relieve stress. So then we'll lower all the way back down here. And then bring one knee up toward your elbow as if you were, the best way to describe this is like if you're sleeping and you pull a leg up toward you. Yeah, so half frog here. So this knee is coming out from the hip. It can be here. It can be, I probably wouldn't go past level with the hip because that's going to create a little something different in the stretch, but this is a really good inner thigh stretch. That ankle being in line with the knee and then flexing that foot. Now, if that doesn't feel good, if that's too much, then bring the heel back toward the bottom. But otherwise, we're just here and you're resting your head on your palms and not using any muscular effort that you don't have to. So really resting, just letting the inner thigh release. Now if you have pretty stretched out inner thighs and you want to see if you can activate a little deeper there, you can straighten out that leg and activate the sole of the foot toward the floor, but still keep the muscles really soft. So that can intensify this stretch here, which eventually will let you get a little deeper into the fascia around that hip joint, around the femur bone. Head can be on stacked hands, or forehead could be on the floor, or resting on a blanket, just whatever is the most comfortable way for you. And sometimes when you straighten out that leg to intensify the stretch, it gets old after a few rounds of breath, and if that happens, just bend back into that knee and find that softness and ease again and rest here. Just slowly start wiggling that foot and knee back in line with the other leg. When you get there, rock left and right in your hips, sway the feet side to side with knees bent. Set everything back down. Resting here just on your front. And then slowly bring yourself back into Sphinx for, let's say, 5 rounds of breath. And since this is the second time you're doing it, it might feel good to go a little deeper. If not, then you're fine to stay here. And if you'd rather stay all the way down, do that. You get to choose. So, but if you want a little more, hand print forward with each hand and then straighten into the arm. So you're more of a seal here. Breathing in and out. Just encouraging you to create and feel sensation differently from how you do in an active yoga class. If you normally would press way up in this, come out more and see if you can get a different sensation in the low back. Shoulders are down here. And you can bring elbows down, and we'll just transition to the other side with that half frog. So the knee just comes up. Maybe the foot stays close into the thigh to begin, and then you start to send it out just like we did on that side. Find which way this feels okay here, and remember you have that option to extend the leg. Just play with that from side to side so that you're not doing things exactly the same from side to side just for the sake of doing that. That you're really listening and feeling into your body. What do you need on this side? And then just breathe here, breathing in and out, maybe revisiting that thing that you needed for class or why you showed up. And continually returning to the breath, breathing in and breathing out. And as you go throughout class, see if you can continue to make the breath in longer and the breath out longer, just so that by the time you finish class, you have deepened your breathing in general quite a bit. You straighten that leg out, go ahead and slowly begin to bend it. Take a couple of rounds of breath with it bent. And we'll all start to wiggle wiggle that foot and knee back, bringing it, so moving very slowly, bring it back in line. Rock left and right and your hips once again. Maybe take the reverse windshield wiper here. Let the legs settle back down. Turn your head to one side if that feels good. Just notice what you feel. Continuing to let the breath nourish you. Turn your head the other way if you did one side. And then bring your head up very slowly. Start to take your hands just about under your shoulders. Start to press into your hands coming up to tabletop, just moving slowly and lazily. We'll sit all the way back to child's pose, so bottom goes towards your heels. Remember, you could always have a bolster under you or a pillow or a blanket between your backs of your thighs and your calves, and then lower down, having arms out in front or even maybe wrapped around you like little parentheses. And breathe and rest here for a few rounds of breath, breathing in and out. Slowly start to move to seated, so sitting in about the center of your mat. I have 2 blocks, so I'm going to do a version of supported fish with 2 blocks. But if you don't have blocks, you could use a rolled up blanket. So let me just show you that option first that you could do, so you could at least get some sort of heart opener here. So you could roll up a blanket and put it behind you like this. And then you can roll up the end of the blanket so that your head can hang off and your chin and neck can really stretch. But if you already know that won't feel good for your neck, then you would place a block here or just not roll the blanket up or place another blanket under your head. But the version that I really like to do, if you have the blocks available, you take one block here, goes behind and between your shoulder blades, and then the other block, and we'll start with it here. Actually, we'll start with it here, and then I'll show you what we can do with that. So the tricky part is finding where on your back this really feels okay. So between the shoulder blades is good, but really you just kind of have to play with it. So the best thing to do is take it, place it there, and then, so I already know I'm gonna have to move it. So my shoulder blades can really frame it, and then I'm here. So for me today, this feels okay to have my head back like this. Sometimes it doesn't. So you could have the block up, and in fact that does feel better today. It's not quite as deep of a heart opener, it feels a little different. But you'll know when the block is right because it's really just going to be at the bottom, at the one of the first vertebrae of your lumbar spine, this middle part of your spine, the thoracic. I'm sorry, not the lumbar, the thoracic part of your spine. I've made myself tired. And so the mid part of your back. And then you can see that this really helps open up the breath. And sometimes this can feel like too far for the arms to hang down. It might cause pinching behind the shoulder blades or something. You could put blankets or towels under here just to elevate the arms a little bit. And then I'm starting here with my knees bent, but I can work towards straightening them and just really see what feels better. For me, for today, knees bent feels better. You could even let the thighs meet and have the knees in and thighs in toward each other. But I think for me, here this feels pretty good. So find something that works for you. If you're doing the blanket version, same thing. You could bend the knees or straighten them. And find where you can just feel really heavy on the props, the mat, letting all of these things beneath you support you. Close your eyes, let your mind drift back to the thing that you needed. Let your breath in and your breath out be longer. Just mindfully having a breath that's longer than when you started, deeper. Take 5 more full rounds of breath here. Full breath in and out 5 times, just on your own. When you start to come out of this, turn to the side. So don't lift your head and neck and shoulders out of it. Lazily turn to the side, just rolling off. And then when you get there, move the props out of the way and then come on to your back. When you get there, take the knees a little side to side. And then bring the knees in toward you, so reaching behind the thighs. Let the neck be really long. So if you feel this happening, see if you can take your fingertips and really straighten it out. It'll almost feel like you're dipping your chin toward your chest, but you're just getting length in the cervical spine. Rock a little left and right. Take the hands right to your kneecaps. For Upanasana, you really aren't moving the legs with your hands. You're just letting the inhale, the hands are sort of riding the knees. The inhale, the arms straighten. And the exhale, the knees just follow along as your arms bend. So not using the core or ab muscles, not really using the legs, you're just guiding the knees with the hands. The exhale as the knees come towards you. So you want to do this after you've done a twist, especially, but it's really good to do at the end of class just to even everything out and reset the spine. So then the feet come down and stretch the legs out long on the mat, tuck your shoulder blades under, let your arms frame you in a little A-frame. Close your eyes, and we'll have a few rounds of breath here of Shavasana, but always feel free to pause the video and continue in your Shavasana meditation or seated meditation. meditation as long as you like. heaviness of your body against the mat, just really resting heavily. Breathing into a lightness of heart and joy in the front body. Creating and feeling balance here. And think of one thing you're grateful for. Small movements back to your fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Stretch really long, reaching fingertips in one direction, toes in the other direction. Create lots of space. Breathe in, exhale, let it all out. Soften, relax. Bend your knees, roll onto one side using the bottom arm for a pillow. Breathe in and out here. Slowly begin to press the floor away, coming back up to a comfortable seat just as we began. Think of whatever it was that you wanted for this practice today. Hold it in your hands. Bring your hands to heart center in a Jali Mudra. Close your eyes. Honor that thing, honor that intention, what you needed, own it. Be okay with self-care, taking care of you, showing up, and honoring that intention, and also knowing that everyone out there who's practicing yoga or doing this video with you, with me, that we are also honoring a group and community intention of love and peace and tolerance and human kindness. With grace and gratitude, I thank you for showing up for this practice. Have a wonderful